Hello everybody and welcome back. And in last week's video we had gone through in Genesis 6th chapter about the real instance about what took place about the fallen angels and the mistakes they had done. We had also studied 2 Peter 2nd chapter 3rd verse, where we went to the comparison about why Apostle Peter used to record the fallen angels incident when he compared them to the angels, where yes, he had compared the fallen angels' actions to the current situation of the time period, we can see, and instruct the church class people to, as a warning, to be alert and aware of it. So we understood that the reality of 2 Peter 2nd chapter 3rd verse, he addresses there was a false prophet in this period, and we already discussed in last week who the prophet is. The prophet is a person who shares the God's gospel and word and truth, and we can understand here they've been given the privilege to grace the people. But in this situation, the false prophet is going backwards and against God, because the way it looks like, we can understand that what the false prophet in this situation will do is probably most likely deceive the people and say lies about God and the doctrines that contradict what God says, and they also add about truth and which is against the truth, and which is they are greedy as the false prophets. But the core thing he also added in this verse, Peter added in this, he also added they will be judged seriously and will be punished as well seriously by God as punished angels for their mistakes, for they've been given the opportunity to grace the people with the privilege they've been given, but rather they decide to misuse their privilege and to spread false doctrines which deceive and trick the people, which is against God, and this means that they will be in this punishment. And in this, they not only deceive, they deceive the people into understanding what the true doctrines is of God, and they contradict what God believes in and his doctrines. So now we'll go back to Genesis 6th chapter, and we're going to read the first 2 verses just to get a bit more clarity about what we're trying to say. So let's read that right now. So let's read Genesis 6th chapter, 1st to 2nd verse. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives, and they any they chose. So from this, here it is recorded, the incident, but it's not revealed anything about the sins the angels had committed in this point. We can clearly see, because all it's saying that they had these angels, which are the sons of God, have been said to have fallen in love with the women of this time. So from Jude book, 2nd chapter, from 2 Peter 2nd chapter, no, Jude book and 2 Peter 2nd chapter, 5th verse, it is revealed they gained the authority to uplift the humankind and bring during the first world to a world away from their sinful life, but they lost their privilege and responsibility that they were given by God because they failed to educate the people and rather were corrupted by their adversaries' deceiving and the lust of the woman that they had toward them and their desires towards the woman, and this made them commit this sin. We can see, and they created that new race that is mentioned. We can read in Genesis 6 chapter 4th verse, since it's mentioned because of their corruption and sin and the lust they had in their eyes towards the woman at this period. They had committed this sin, and they used their powers to basically change the state of the humankind in this sin period, and their desires to marry the good-looking woman entered this new race into the world, we can see. So let's read Genesis 6 chapter 4th verse to understand the next part of this. So let's read that right now. So it says in Genesis 6 chapter 4th verse, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and afterward, where the sons of God came in to the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of the old, the men of renown. So here Nephilim means not the normal human beings, but the race that was breeded from the angels and the woman that they found as good looking the angels. And because of the angels' sin, we can see that they lost the privilege as they were corrupted by the adversaries' deceivingness of lust. And because of that, they lost the privilege to uplift the humankind from their sinful nature. And they now, as we know their situation now, they are in those everlasting bounded chains. So that is all for today. See you next time. Bye.